Welcome to Reading with Nana, and hi to my returning friends. Today's story is called The Almost Fearless Hamilton Squidlegger. It's by Timothy Basil Eyring, and he also did the pictures. During the hours when the sun shares its light, Hamilton is a daring doer and a dream come truer. Why, he's the rippingest, roaringest squidlegger in the Scrantleberry swamp. Dad, Dad, watch, Dad, Hamilton calls out. My mighty shield can block the flames of a fire breathing Frankensnacker. Amazing, Hamilton. Your strength and speed are stupendous, says Dad. And my sword can dodge the claws of a skellycragon. What courage you have! It takes one brave squidligger to tickle the foot of a bracklesneed. One might say Hamilton Squidligger is fearless. Well, not quite. He's almost fearless. You see, when the sun disappears behind the Scrantleberry trees, it won't be long before bedtime. Each night at bedtime, Hamilton's dad has to plead with Hamilton. Please, 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 son, stay in your own mud tonight, he says. All alone, Hamilton lasts about 2 minutes before he hears something. What's that? Is it the sound of a frackensnacker? Or a skellycragon? Or a bracklesneed? Hamilton springs from the mud, takes off running pretty fast, and scrambles to the secret hideaway. The next day, when the sun snaps up from behind the Scrantleberry trees, Hamilton will wake with vigor. He is fearless once again. Well, friends, this went on one particular afternoon when Hamilton was sneaking, wrestling, and sword fighting, and his nose discovered the scent of something that dreams are made of. A double-decker grasshopper worm cake with snake belly frosting. It was Hamilton's absolute favorite dessert. I made this especially for you, Hamilton, said his father. You can eat it all for breakfast tomorrow under one condition. Tonight, you must stay in your own mud. Anything, anything for that delicious cake, Hamilton exclaimed. But when still gray rain clouds darkened the swamp and the boom of thunder shook the Scrantleberries, Hamilton had some doubts. What if a lightning monster comes tonight? He asked, crawling reluctantly into the mud. Ha! Scoffed his dad. What if one does? Think good thoughts is what I say. Monsters are silly, and they love to play. Have a cake fight with it. She gave Hamilton a kiss goodnight, gently patted him between the eyes, and then doused the light. Hamilton knew he would be too afraid to have a cake fight with any lightning monster. Plus, he wanted to eat the cake. Not play with it. He imagined the licking of the delicious frosting. He imagined the yummy crunch of the baked grasshoppers. He was a tongue length away from a juicy, soft boiled worm. When splat, there was a lightning monster, and his dad was right behind it, throwing a glop of cake at the monster's ear. Grasshoppers and worms splattered everywhere as the monster scraped off some snake belly frosting and pitched it right back. Off they ran, giggling and laughing, till they were out of sight. Hamilton followed the trail of the frosting. When the trail ended at the old TV, Hamilton turned and twisted the knobs. "Where are you, Dad?" At that very moment, he heard his dad's voice and appearing in the TV screen, pedaling a triple-seated Scraggin cycle, were his dad and the lightning monster. "Nothing to be afraid of, son, is what I say. Monsters come because they want to play." Then the TV shook wildly as though it were alive, and out from the top, bottom, and sides of Brackensteed's tentacles appeared and grew bigger and bigger and bigger. What's more, the TV was squirting and spraying hundreds of gallons of pink lemonade everywhere. Soon, the entire place was flooded. Luckily, Hamilton was able to climb aboard a passing ship, but unluckily, the Brackensneed wanted to board the ship too. The ship's bow heaved in the huge pink waves, tossing Hamilton through the air and right down through a hatch into the galley, where a striped bass stood calmly at a stove, humming sea shanties and cooking pancakes. "A monster's trying to sink the ship," Hamilton screamed. "No worries, mate," the bass replied. "I've invited it for a snack. Always be nice to a Bracklesneed is what I say. They make great friends, and they love to play." And the fish asked Hamilton to help the Brackensneed into the galley. Hamilton bravely did as the bass had asked. "Now to feed my other two friends," the fish said, flipping some pancakes up through the hatch. "Upward ho!" he shouted. Hamilton climbed up and was amazed to see that the Skellecragen was now manning the helm. The Frankensnacker was on board too. "Trim the balloon rigging," cried the bass while he and the Bracklesneed mounted the deck. "Upward ho we go." Powered by the Frankensnacker's wild breath, the ship began to rise. They sailed through the air. Over magnificent and breathtaking things. But Hamilton missed his dad. He borrowed a spotting scope and looked far and wide, following a rainbow all the way down to where its arc began. Hamilton saw something that made his eyes widen with joy. "Dad!" cried Hamilton. "Dad! Dad!" Who should be on that cloud but his beloved dad and the lightning monster? The ship raced down the arc, and everyone was thrilled to be reunited. A celebration ensued, and oh my, could those Squidleggers dance! The friends played and sang together until the sun began to slip down behind the horizon. Hamilton climbed back up to the poop deck and gazed out. He knew he needed to tell the others before it got too late. "It's bedtime," proclaimed Hamilton. All the friends cheered with joy. They hurried off to brush their teeth and wash their faces, hands, claws, and tentacles so they could listen to Hamilton's dad read them a book before they all went to sleep. In their very own cabins. And that was the moment when the almost fearless Hamilton Squidlegger became totally fearless. The end. So he got to eat his cake with the snake belly frosting and the baked grasshoppers and the juicy worms. Plus, he stayed in his own bed in the cabin all alone. Sometimes we're afraid of things that we should be afraid of, like strange animals that we don't know or strange people that we don't know. And then other times we're afraid of something because somebody that we look up to may be afraid of it. Like if we have a big brother or big sister or a friend and they're afraid to try something new, then you decide, well, I probably can't do it either, so I'm afraid. And there are times when we're afraid of things like the dark or, um, I don't know. Sometimes our fears don't make sense to other people, and we might wonder why we're afraid of them. But we have to work those things out. So we can become not the almost fearless, but the totally fearless. If you like the story, press like or subscribe. Until next time.